Hello everyone and welcome to this latest video discussion as part of the RICS Tech Partner Programme. My name is Andrew Knight and I've been working with RICS for over 13 years. I sit within our knowledge and practice part of the organisation, and my role is to look at the impact of AI, data and tech right across the built and natural environment. And with over 110,000 members working worldwide right across that property life cycle through land, construction, brokerage, valuation, asset management, building surveying, finance. It's a very broad canvas upon which AI, data and tech is having a very profound effect. And indeed, our members work across all the major asset types, whether that's land itself, infrastructure, commercial property, alternative assets, and residential. So once again, our members working across all those asset types and using data and tech increasingly to work with their clients and improve the service they provide. And I'm really glad today to have Jarkko, Olli and Pasi join me from Infrakit. So welcome to the call.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Andrew.
Well, and it's great to have you on. And before we get into the kind of bits and bytes and really what Infrakit is doing within the market, it's always nice to get a bit of a backstory from each of you. So perhaps starting with you, Jarkko, a bit of a kind of background on your backstory.
So I'm actually the lucky one to be the son of a construction guru. And after working in huge global corporations like Nokia, Hewlett-Packard, Amazon, and GE, so I heard from my dad that like we need innovations, we need digitalization to be construction, and started the own startups 2011. I have been pretty lucky to kind of get a couple of exits and then finding something bigger, which is the Infrakit, what we are doing right now, like a very huge global contact. And nowadays I can say I'm much more startup guy, even though I have this corporate background.
And moving to you, Pasi, what's your background and backstory?
My background is actually very good, I think, on this conversation. I'm a surveyor. And
glad to hear it.
Yeah, I've been working at both infra construction and building construction when I was younger. Yeah. And last recent years with Infrakit now, I think 8 years working with digitalization and sustainability.
Thanks. And finally, last but not least, Olli.
Yeah, hello. So I work as a customer success manager in the Infrakit services team. So I'm a consultant at Infrakit. And my job is basically go directly to the customer, to the sites, and support hands-on with the project personnel so that they get full benefit out of Infrakit. And I'm a civil engineer with over 10 years of experience from the infra construction sector as a surveyor, leading designer, and BIM coordinator.
Good. Well, it always heartens me when I talk to our tech partners and find that not only do we have people who are technically very, very competent, but also have that kind of domain knowledge, because obviously the built and natural environment is a very complex area, and it's always great to talk to firms where they have that balance of knowledge. So perhaps back to you, Jarkko, it'd be interesting to sort of hear your view on the whole kind of drive and need for digitization, but also the whole kind of sustainability ESG agenda, because there's that sense now, I think, that those two things are so important, driving so much change in the sector, and obviously hopefully are mutually reinforcing each other in terms of the drive for sustainability, but also the need to digitize a sector that is perhaps not the most leading edge sometimes in terms of the way it does things and uses digital technology.
So even though digitalization and sustainability can be found in all the top company strategies nowadays, the whole built environment was actually the last in a comparison of digital maturity about last 20 years. But we are actually the first in ESG impact. Then infrastructure, if you calculate the holistic impact, end-to-end impact of greenhouse gases, for example, it's about 79%. So we are biggest kind of a troublemaker, and that's why we are most impactful when we are doing good. So same time we got bigger opportunity than ever, and of course we can do now with digitalization, because it enables also all these ESG services, and we need baselines, we need to compare. So from the last to the first, so that's the greatest opportunity ever.
Indeed. And what's your perspective, Pasi, coming to this as a surveyor of many years?
Yeah, I think what Jarkko said about the climate, that's for sure. That's pressure pulling. But I see more pressure from contractor side, like personal stuff-wise. it's everywhere I go, I talk to people, and they say it's very difficult to find surveyors, capable surveyors. So that's one angle. But then we have also big projects with very limited profit margins. So that's another pressure. We need to find new ways to work to get better profits. And then third part is public pressure. So in UK, for instance, we know what happened to HS2 project, but that happens everywhere. So pressure to cut the prices of infra projects is huge, and we need to find ways how to make it.
Indeed. And Olli, as a civil engineer, what's your perspective on what you've seen in terms of the sector and how this kind of the pressure now is driving us towards these digitization and sustainability outcomes?
Yeah, I felt that previously, like ESG has felt as a burden, like another new thing to conquer and to serve in the infra construction sector. But I think it's more like that digitalization and ESG brings game-changing benefits for infra construction. Like if we think from the like ESG, like environmental point of view, we have CO2 tracking. We can optimize that, bring benefits for the CO2 consumption. Social point of view, we have model-based design and construction. We can use that for work phase planning, make the construction site and people around it more safe. And governance point of view, we have open formats, we have open platforms such as Infrakit, where we can collaborate with all project participants and be transparent for everyone. So I think that's an advantage now, I'd say.
Indeed, and Jarkko, to get to the fundamental of perhaps this call, what's Infrakit's role? What's the value you're bringing to this challenge, this opportunity now?
So when people say that Finns are modest and not good in marketing, so Infrakit roles is actually neutral platform, ecosystem neutral totally, like a center hub, and it also enables single source of truth. And actually, then all the data is real time. So we can even calculate these ESG, different kind of services, ESG values and thresholds real time. So we became extremely valuable when it's communication between people from headquarters to offices to the site and even to the machines and back from the machines. So huge central hub that works with everybody.
And Pasi, what's your perspective on the value that Infrakit's bringing?
I have a very personal perspective. As a surveyor, I started my surveying career in early 90s, so long time ago. And we had a work site that we had multi-brand total stations. And I tried to find a software that I can calculate measurements made from different brands. And the answer was, Pasi, you need to choose your color. Since that, I was upset about it, and I said that this cannot be right, that we need to follow certain brands if we want to work. And when I joined Infrakit in 2016, one of the key points why I got interested about this company was that it allows customers to put a table. Infrakit is like a table platform, and you can put softwares, hardwares you want to use, not determined by somebody else. You can tell what you need. And that's, I think, one of the biggest values and most beneficial role for Infrakit at the market.
Indeed. And Olli, again, I guess from your perspective, obviously with your civil engineering background, what's your value perception? I guess you talk to clients a lot. As you say, there's this great power around the neutrality, but there must be some other functionality that people are now seeing the real value of.
Yeah, I'd say Infrakit role is both on the project level, but also on the company lead level. So when we, as Jarkko mentioned, we have a common data environment where we pull all the project participants under over one table, and we collaborate with same data, with up-to-date data. So everyone has the same information for the project quality and data management. So that basically leads us to possibility to lead with data. So we can lead the project with the up-to-date data. And when the projects implement with the model-based working processes with Infrakit, they can with their daily work, projects start to produce harmonized quality data. And with that, when we have multiple same kind of projects with same kind of data, we can actually start to use that for company lead, so they can use that data for their own information from all the projects, and they can use their data analytics tools for that.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge point, isn't it, in terms of that kind of benchmarking and that analytical power, that unless you have the data in some kind of central repository, as you say, on a company basis. I mean, Jarkko, I'm always interested to ask this of so many of the partners I talk to, and I think you've been going for around 13 years or so, is really what you've learned, because so often people go to market with a sense of what the solution should be and a sense of what the market needs. But obviously, once you collide with the real world, you learn lots of lessons. And I'm really intrigued to understand the kind of things you've learned on this journey and how that's reflected back into what Infrakit now does.
Lovely, great, and very impactful question. So first of all, if a digital maturity has been very low, so it was not mandatory enough. And now in the ESG game, when we have like EU taxonomy targets, we have a kind of global Green Deal targets. Same time, we have like really much benefits coming in the forms of carbon credits, grants, and a kind of leading positions. So I have mostly met very smart people, always in a build kind of environment, and now especially in infra construction. And I didn't know that actually infrastructure is leading the kind of let's say vertical building, because the machines are very expensive, and machines has a bit more IQ when we get help with the machine control and the Infrakit kind of platform. So the latest information models goes in, and we know exactly what the machines are doing there, how deep they are digging, and if it's 0.5 centimeter kind of not perfect, we get the threshold. So it's comparing like a saw or hammer, so they don't have much IQ. So we get so much two-way kind of communication and feedback. So it actually comes for the whole industry. Do we need to change? And now in a huge kind of sustainable trend situation, so we got an opportunity, including funding, including penalties coming 2030, like 55% CO2 equivalent reductions. They are huge in an industry when we have so much kind of materials, big machine, we have concrete, steel, and we need to go through the forest sometimes. So as I said, very impactful industry in the biggest possible change ever. We need support from a top management. We need like actually the board really enable this change, not like nice to have. This is like biggest mandatory change. Same time we are getting efficiency. We get huge benefits under the budget impacts, and kind of even ahead of schedule, because we know more. We just have more data and new methodologies. So it has taken a time to change, but actually we have been doing 6,000 projects, and we have like a really good hundreds of success stories of yes, we can deliver ahead of schedule. We can deliver to maximum quality. And actually, it's a very good news for everybody in this business, and we can get promotions. We have like also hundreds of these stories. So it's about the time. I would say that timing is very important. Support from top management is very important. But definitely, it hasn't been walk in a park. But that's why we are here, and it's the most exciting journey. And now the timing is better than ever.
So Pasi, if you look back over the last, what is it, sort of 8 years or so, what are the lessons that you personally learned?
I think I can put it to three different. They're connected but different categories. In overall, what I see, my work is I'm talking to companies all over Europe and some companies in Asia, US. So quite wide network on that sense. But everywhere I see that change is so slow. And there are several reasons. What we mentioned earlier is small margins, uncertainty with people. People don't like change that they cannot be controlling. And also people who can make the change. Like now we talk about surveyors. They know a lot what happens at the work site. But the challenge with surveyors are that they don't have so much influencing power to leaders at the project are higher. So that's one thing. Then digitalization doesn't just happen. It must be somebody's priority. But also to understand digitalization is not that objective itself. It's like a tool, it's a doorstep to something else. So we should have objectives like better quality, better profit, better future, better working environment, that kind of things. Not necessarily measured by money or measured by hours or measured by numbers. So that's one thing. And then third, people tend to talk about things that they understand. The same matters to change. So surveyor naturally want to change something that is under his power. Then site manager wants to change something that is under his power. And when we have these kind of small changes happening here and there, they're not necessarily taking us to the right direction. They can even be harming each other at some point.
Yeah.
So now when we come with Infrakit to that kind of environment, we talk about like a bigger platform. What I see that people don't sometimes even understand what we are talking about. So that's our challenge, what I have learned 8 years in Infrakit, that how to communicate that. That's my challenge.
And Olli, for you, what have your challenges or lessons learned? It was interesting that Pasi turned them almost into challenges, but for you, what's the landscape look like, and what's your journey felt like?
I have a bit of similar answers because in the customer success manager work, I think the most crucial thing is the dedication from the customer. Like in a figure of speech, let's imagine that you have the nicest car in the town, but you don't know how to drive it, and your parents didn't give you any gas money. So basically, you're just having a very expensive car and paying insurance. So in Infrakit, if you want to implement the digitalization to your company, you need to have the project personnel involved. They need to be motivated. They need to see the benefits for their daily work. But also we need the support from the top down, so that the company lead give enough resources for the project personnel to actually execute the digitalization, because it doesn't happen overnight. It's an investment of time and money. So this both needs to happen so that it really can affect throughout the whole company.
Indeed. And Jarkko, I'm always sort of keen to hear this sort of the responses to this question from a lot of the partners I talk to, because clearly you're operating in a marketplace and there are people providing, similar solutions. How have you developed what Infrakit can do and sought to differentiate yourself from other solutions? Because clearly from a procurement perspective, people are bombarded with lots of different solutions claiming to do certain things, and I guess everybody wants to be within reason as unique as they can be in terms of the way they combine, the way they deliver their platform. What's been your strategy in that area?
So it has been actually very bold, and once again, so there are a couple of really good success stories from Finland back in the days, like Nokia, couple of Angry Birds stories, and Supercell. So we have been bold enough to choose to be ecosystem neutral, and that really means that some of our integrations are sized like XX billions, like a huge companies. But it hasn't been easy to keep ecosystem neutrality, because you need to be friend with everybody. And actually the positive thing has been that we have got really many offers by technological buyouts. So yes, we can live with that. But it tells that we are very significant and important in this business. And then it comes to kind of like real-time services. So most of the services are not real-time, and they are never multi-fleet. So when we work with everybody and we have like really good two-way access to the data all the way to machines and back. So we are like dealing with the actual data, not design data or not like Excel data from somewhere. So that's when you get much more powerful data to decision making, and everybody gets better, smarter, making better decisions earlier, like very proactively, not reactively after getting some calculations. So that's a huge difference. Then as a third, I could say that if we would be in the Olympics, we would be Olympic winner in decathlon.
So, Pasi, from your perspective as a surveyor, what for you does differentiation mean in terms of offering something that is distinct, and that if you were sitting on the other side of the buying table, you would think, yes, that's a different way of approaching it. That's something that I really value.
First and most concrete thing is, Jarkko a little bit referred about it, is that machine control systems are in key role in digitalization workflow at the work site, infra site. So what I see that in Scandinavia, machine control is adopted very well. Adoption rate is 80 beyond. Yeah. And when we come to UK, Central Europe market, it's less than 50 at the moment, but it's growing. But it seems that in the Middle European market, people are more willing to use drones following up the progress. But we need to understand that machine control systems are the only one that we can affect proactively the work site and increase the efficiency of machinery. So that's one thing. And with Infrakit, we have customers who had 4 surveyors taking care of getting design data to machines without Infrakit. And then when they got Infrakit on board, they needed only 1. So other surveyors could do the other jobs. So that's one thing. And the second thing is that I think it's valuable is that as far as I know, Infrakit is the only that kind of platform that is been created for infra and only for infra. And Infrakit was born in university. So we are a spin-off of study in university back in 2010. So that gives something that, okay, that is needed. It's not an idea that somebody wants to cash. It's really needed at site. So I would take those 2.
Indeed. And Olli, from your perspective, I guess it's interesting that comment about it being designed from the ground up for infrastructure, because there's always a danger, I think, that perhaps tech firms will build a solution and think that actually that is now, relevant for that whole different spectrum of all the different asset types. And I guess, once again, what do you see from a civil engineering background that does differentiate? Because they are, as you know, such larger projects, more complex, so much more idiosyncratic in terms of the risk and the issues that you get compared to, dare I say it, constructing office buildings and retail parks or data centers.
Yes, absolutely. I think in digitalization, the problem is that we are getting a lot of softwares and a lot of new tools. And when we approach a new customer, they probably think first like, oh no, another credentials I need to remember. So from Infrakit, we are not a one-trick pony. We are more like a Swiss Army knife. So meaning that we have multiple tools to support the project level and company level digitalization under one software. So this helps companies to focus their workflows under one product. For example, if we think about data, we have a common data environment in Infrakit with open formats, meaning that all project personnel and parties have access to the same up-to-date information. We also integrate the machine automation systems to Infrakit, drone data to Infrakit, and maybe other project banks maybe to Infrakit that automatically flow more data to Infrakit. And with all this combined, we get the situal awareness of the project and we can lead with the data on one platform. So actually, we can work under one software rather than having multiple different apps and softwares to combine the data.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that. It stuck with me a memory of somebody I was talking to, and they were kind of bemoaning and complaining about the fact there were so many separate applications that they were trying to integrate, and he was saying, please don't tell me I need to open another tab on my browser. Yes. That's sort of yet another kind of solution that I have to deal with. I mean, Jarkko, back to you. It's always great to bring alive, and I think Pasi did with that story about the reduction in the number of people required because of the data flows. It's always great to hear those kind of customer impact stories about sometimes almost little things that I guess if a lot of little things get better, you get that sort of marginal gain, but you put all those marginal gains together and then you end up with a huge impact. Can you tell me an indication, another example of that kind of customer impact in the real world?
So that's exactly what kind of person I am. I really want to understand company's customer impact, and I have really done deep dive to kind of first customer like 13 years ago. Yeah. When we were doing actually the cloud, like a two-way communication and first machine control. So I had to check, first of all, what was the impact of Infrakit to our first customer? And I got very clear answer from 3 different levels. It's 20% under budget. And I thought like 20%, is it good or bad number? And of course I was Googling and getting information in this industry, and it was amazing good number. And of course, I have seen the legacy and knowing with the history that sometimes infra projects has went bit over. So that was the first impact. But then I was not happy. Said, great, but what other impact actually is happening? And I would say that impact is like if you can make it on time, comparing if it goes like a kind of month or even years above. So it actually has two kind of impacts, or three kind of impacts: budgetary impact, then happiness impact to many people and owners, and actually it has huge sustainability impact. So I really wanted to understand even the sustainability impact, and we calculated perfectly the old case. Then nobody knew how to set ESG criteria right, like from the history, and we utilized LCA agency and truly calculate accurately, and outcome was 5.6% less CO2 equivalent in that project. And I thought very small number because I have been doing big things at Nokia. And then the Finnish Climate Fund came to us and said that we want to invest in you. And everything went perfectly. And then we signed. I had to say them, why did you invest? Because we can only influence 5.6%. And they said that's 5.6% better than anyone in this world. So I became very happy. And now this is growing because we know where we are right now in infra projects. We know exactly what is our kind of current state and the impact comparing to any like taxonomy or Green Deal targets. We know how much we need to improve next year and so on. So we are one of the few ones who has done the impact already with efficiency. We are one of the few ones who know where we stand. So that's the most relevant from my point of view.
And for you, Pasi, talking about those sort of marginal gains, or indeed those big gains, what have you seen over the last few years where customers have really been able to move the dial?
Do you know what is the most common question I get from surveyors when I talk to surveyors around the world? What is the biggest problem that they want to solve? It is how to make quality assessment faster and more straightforward.
Yeah.
Because surveyors are in the center of quality, staking out, getting as built. So they know that there are so many threats in this process in traditional way. Laptop gets lost, phone gets lost, crashes, whatever. So they are asking, how can we make this simpler and more robust process? So that is like a real-time quality assessment. That is really a value. And the second one, I made a study in Finland a couple of years ago about infra projects, that what did they report out? So it was not Infrakit reporting something about the project, but they put their web page, city web page, or national broadcasting or whatever. And they said that the key for success was better collaboration between joint venture partners or with subcontractors. And who made it possible? It was Infrakit, because that's the open platform inside the project. So I think those two are key benefits for or impacts from my side.
Indeed, I'm glad you highlighted that kind of piece around JVs and contractors and neutral platform, because clearly, as you know better than I do, you have to deal with multiple platforms because you're in JVs, you have multiple different tier one, different contractors for each project. So you're never going to be in a situation really where you have that kind of utopian sense of just one system to deal with. So I mean, same question to you earlier about the kind of customer stories, and you obviously interact a lot with the customers, the kind of things that you've seen that, whether they were big gains or just lots of incremental ones, have really made that difference.
Well, I think on the project level, the benefit is efficiency. So as Pasi mentioned, the surveyors can focus with the data and share it through one platform to all the machinery on the project and project personnel. And also we have the excellent tools for following the data and quality management. In Finland, we have this joke about infra construction sites that the sites might be busy, but they're never that busy that they couldn't construct something twice first wrong and then correct. So with Infrakit, the project managers can follow up construct the quality, and they can intercept quickly if they notice that something is wrong or that they are missing some parts. So that's again the situational awareness of the project, and also leading with data. So getting the information from sites as soon as possible, and that helps out the site management also to lead the project.
And I guess you must see a huge improvement in the reduction in reworks and conflicts and all those things that bedevil construction sites and change management and variance, which can slow things down, can't they? I guess a final question to all three of you is really about what are the opportunities, what things does the sector do next? What do you think the next few years hold, and what opportunities and challenges does it hold for you? So perhaps starting with you, Jarkko, what's the future hold?
So there's now maybe the biggest trend ever with ESG, even bigger than digitalization, as I understand it. So it's pretty much like, do you want to get benefits of ESG? Like, do you want to be in a club of the good guys who are doing sustainability and CO2 reductions? Do you want to get grants? Do you want to be like in a leading role? Or is it better to stay at the station and not take a train at all, not to go to digitalization? And then we look back like even deeper of our first customer. So they actually won top 10 projects, all 10 out of 10, and they became market leader, most profitable, and there's actually no corruption in Finland, so we are the lowest corruption country. And they got acquired by Colas after that one, and significantly higher valuation. And they are right now one of the few companies, so in a cooperation, we are doing real-time ESG. So actually that ESG impact, it already kind of increased the valuation with hundreds of millions. So it's also proven, and with 6,000 projects we have done, they are all success stories, and several hundred are already in the ESG area. So I would say that biggest kind of difference in the opportunity is, do you want to go to the ESG train or stay at the station? And in the first answer, so me and all the others are very happy to help.
So Pasi, final word from you. What's your view of the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think Jarkko just nailed it basically, but we need to admit that change is here whether we want it or not. So it's not only corporate decision to carry on to change or not, it's also individual decision. I need to make a decision whether I want to be supporting or against. And then if you decide to be supporting, just use our experience, use Olli's and his team's experience, because we don't want to make all the companies to be copy-paste from Finland. We don't want that. We want to give our experience to table, and then them to decide what they want to take from that, what they want to challenge, but they got someone to reflect. And I think that's our value in any conversation, in any deals, anywhere. So I think that those two things, and we need to do it together, because we have worksite level, we have project level, we have a corporate level, and we need to talk in each levels. That's why we are 3 people in here. We talk to different levels in the corporate.
Indeed. And a final word from you, Olli. I suppose, what are your customers asking you to do? They must have their wish list. They must have their drivers that are saying to you, I wish you did this, or we have a challenge here. What do you think your customers are going to be demanding from you over the next couple of years?
Well, Andrew, I think that sometimes the problem is even that they don't know what to ask, because and there's no shame in it, because digitalization and ESG is a very difficult and new topic also for some companies, and they feel like, oh, okay, we need to handle this, but they don't know how. And with that, we want to jump in and help out the customers. So basically, we support the customer as a platform, and my job as an Infrakit services person is to make sure that they get full benefit of Infrakit. And I just want to point out that even though I'm a consulting guy, consulting is not our core business. So my target is to train the customers to be self-sufficient with Infrakit, so I can move forward to the next customer. So I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I really like my job. 50% of my customers are abroad and 50% are in Finland. So just if you feel like it, just send us an email or ask me in Teams, and I will help you out. I have many countries that I haven't visited yet for the job, so.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, Jarkko, Pasi, Olli, it's been fascinating to talk, and a really interesting conversation about, as I said, I think perhaps from the beginning, how digitization can help us with this ESG challenge, which, as you've all said, it's not going away. We have to get on that bus and go on that journey. But for today, thanks so much for your time, and I look forward to catching up again in the future.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. And dear colleagues, we have same mission.